Hi folks, and welcome to my first LockDown slideshow. As you can see, the cars are still sat in the unit. I can't go anywhere near them at the moment. They're 50 miles away and I'm not allowed to drive. So I decided to try and find some interesting photos to talk about. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm very thankful to the Sainsbury archive at sainsburyarchive.org.uk for giving me access to their huge amount of photos, over 7,000 photos available on their website. If you want to go and have a look, that's sainsburyarchive.org.uk. This is a shot from Green Park Station in Bath in 1980. Got a Mark III Cortina next to an HB Viva, Morris Marina Coupe, and what would have then been still a Chrysler Alpine. It's quite an interesting shot. If we move on to the next one, this is a Camberley Watchmore Park, apparently in 1992. Our main car is a Vauxhall Cavalier CDI with what looks like a dealer fit rear spoiler on it, which is a bit posh. There's what would have been a brand new Volkswagen Passat in the background. This is from 1992, so that would have been around the time of that facelift, I think. Another interesting shot. Jumping now to Coventry, this is Cannon Park in 1977. We've got a Hillman Hunter, or certainly an Arrow-based Hillman of some sort, next to a Morris Marina, a HC Viva, and the boot being loaded on a Triumph Herald there. You can just see the J. Sainsbury building in the background. Would then have been fairly new, I think. This is also the same car park, another HC Viva. But what's interesting is just beyond that little white Mini, we've got a Fiat 128 by the look of it. Quite an interesting car. And I can also see a Mark 1 Golf on the left hand side, and what I think is just the rear end of a Lancia Beta. And the other side of the Golf is an NSU, one of the rear engines. I think that's a 4-cylinder version. Jumping now to Kempshot in Basingstoke. This is 1989. People making good use of the excellent load space of an Austin Maxi there. A couple of Datsuns or Nissans next to it, a little Micra and a Sunny there. We've got a Toyota Corolla nearer the camera, just in shot. And yeah, very colourful image indeed. Returning to Coventry, back to Cannon Park. This is 1977 now. Hillman Avenger with those hockey stick rear lights, a Triumph Herald, Mark II Escort, Mini Clubman Estate, another Arrows Hillman of some sort with a Volkswagen Beetle next to it. And I can't quite make out what's next to the Beetle. In the shot, Mark II Cortina maybe? It's hard to tell, but obviously Citroen GS just in front of the trolley is of main interest for me. We are back at Green Park Station in Bath. It's 1982 now. Another Hillman Hunter next to a Triumph Dolomite, Austin Allegro, Fiat Ritmo or Strada, depending on your market. And what looks like an Escort Mark III Cabriolet as well. A fairly rare sight. And that's a new building, I think, in a new Sainsbury's. It used to be in here, I think, and this area was refurbished by Sainsbury's in 1982. See a Vauxhall Cavalier Mark 1 closest to camera. Ooh, what's that little red car there? Is that an Audi Coupe? It might be, you know. And Mark II Cavalier in Jamaica yellow in the background as well, a little Volkswagen Polo, but very interesting roof. And some people may recognise it because that's where I said goodbye to my Honda SMX in 2018. And you can see that building is still there, and it is still a Sainsbury's car park. The main building is in front of my car at this point. But yeah, absolutely wonderful. So that refurbishment work done by Sainsbury's in 1982 was very well done indeed. We're just about to jump to another view, and again colourful, but look at this little Simca 1000 nearest the camera. A couple of Minis, Mark II Honda Civic, what I think is a Mark 1 Astra Estate there in red with the funky rear wiper. Very interesting. I must get some video footage of one of those rear wipers in action. If you have a Mark 1 Astra Estate with a rear wiper, or a Chevette or Chavan, let me know. I need to film it. Jumping to number 10, this is the same Sainsbury's again. This is that new building, but look at this magnificent CX estate. Remind you how large they are, seen here with HC Viva, Mark II Escort, another Datsun Sunny, and my screen going off is not helpful at this point. And what I think is a Toyota Corolla. next to it a yellow 2CV in the background, and a Fiat Panda. Lovely. We're now at the Shire's retail park in Leamington Spa near Warwick. 1989, that Renault 18 is 9 years old and looking absolutely splendid. Porsche 924 nearest the camera. We've got a couple of Orions in the background with a Polo and a Mark II Cavalier as well. And yeah, a bit of a reminder, where have all the Orions gone? They've become very rare. We've got pre and post facelift there. And this is another view of the same car park. We've got a Cavalier Commander Special Edition, I think there, next to a Seat Ibiza Mark 1. And in the background, a Lada Riva next to what I think is a Mark IV Cortina. And a Chevette nearest the camera. So it really is a fascinating archive, and good on Sainsbury for making it available. Like I say, well worth going and checking out their website. And here's another shot. This is Oldham near Manchester, a Rover 200 of the SD3 variety. And look how she's struggling to lift the bags over that big lip in the back. They did change that with a facelift that came on the later 200s. And also got a Datsun Sunny, Peugeot 309, and a Yugo, and a Renault 5 Mark 1, adding some variety. Right, that's done with the Sainsbury's photos. We're now into reader submissions or viewer submissions. This one is by Kenny Lawyers, if I've got that pronunciation correct. Chrysler New Yorker he found in France in 2008. That is an imposing beast of a car. Very interesting to see. And I'm merely scratching the surface of these photos. You sent so many, I've still got a lot to go through, so don't be disappointed if yours isn't here. This is another photo that Kenny took in Bulgaria in 2003. Those are a pair of Vosovas, FSOs built in Poland, overhead valve 4-cylinder engine, very rare. I've never seen one of those in the metal before. So that is a fascinating shot. Moving on, I need to thank Frank Voltius. In Groningen in the Netherlands, or that's where this photo was taken anyway. Volkswagen Beetle, Fiat 127, Toyota Corolla, I think, liftback, Mark 1 Astra, and a lovely Fiat 131, which was Frank's father's car at the time. A super diesel, no less. Lovely photo. Someone known only as Ollie has sent me this photo of his dad's modified Anglia, modified back in the day, of course, and it was his father's first car. And it just reminds me of the extreme lengths people went to with their modifications back in the day. It looks absolutely crazy. You just don't see stuff like that anymore. Everything's kind of back to factory. Someone known only as Furco has sent this picture of a Citroen XM sitting on his neighbour's property. Furco was born, and apparently this car was already sat there. So it's been sitting there quite a while and has an elderly owner who won't sell. Same old story. Very sad. Hopefully one day that car will live again. Adrian Banner has sent this lovely Peugeot 204 he spotted in Colombes in France, and hopefully that'll live again as well. Peugeot's first front-wheel drive car, very interesting engineering. I have a Peugeot 404 video to come, hopefully before too long. Very interesting, a little more conventional in terms of engineering. This photo was sent by Frank Zanting of the Netherlands. It's a 2CV, I think possibly a Belgian built one, because it's got a strip down the bonnet. It would have been an AZLP, I think. Or was it just AZL? It might have just been AZL for Lux. So you got a few more trimmings. Ruben McCarthy sent this picture of two hearses, somewhere where they have an Arabic language by the look of it, but a ponton up front and a W114 or 115 behind. Look quite nice conversions, to be honest. They don't look like they've seen service for a very long time. Tony P sent this photo of his dad's brand new Morris Oxford, brand new in 1971 on a J plate. That would have been one of the last Oxfords of that type. The Marina was already in production by then. And lovely BMC ice cream van as well. I've never seen one like that. Very strange looking beast. The old frontny bit. Now we're into my friend Darren Rungazami's photos, really loud photos. Find him on Instagram and Flickr. Well worth seeking out. There's some amazing pics. This is my friend Chris Salter's Renault 18 with Parisian bumpers and a lovely Simca 1100 in the background. And then we've got this Datsun Stanza that Darren spotted at a show, possibly Bromley Pageant. It's got a bit of a Bromley Pageant whiff about it, that photo. A car I would very much like to try. They have interesting handling, apparently. But I really like the looks. I think they're a great looking car. Also great looking is this Van den Pla one-off prototype seen at the NEC Classic Motor Show a few years ago. And I referenced it in my video on the Austin Kimberley because it uses the Austin Kimberley body shell, which is why it's got this booted version of a land crab. Sadly, it never made production. Darren also does a fantastic line in Scrapyard photos, and he's taken them for many decades. So there's a very 90s selection of cars there: Peugeot 205, Volkswagen Passat, Escort Mark 5 down at the bottom there. Yeah, wonderful to capture these moments, even though they're quite sad. Look at this poor Citroen GSA Special Estate. So it's the same spec as my GSA, but in estate form. And yeah, sadly, a lot of them were scrapped, even when the bodies were actually quite good, because people just couldn't cope with running them. Very sad to see. Little FSO Polonaise down at the bottom of that pile. Another selection of scrapyard images, a Volkswagen Beetle. I'm not sure what that is. Nearest the camera, the green car. Quite an interesting motor vehicle. Yeah, who knows what that is? Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Volkswagen Passat maybe. And we're going to finish on this lovely old Miner, just because this photo reminds me of going around scrapyards in New Zealand, which are full of old Morris Miners. Not sure if it's a Series 2 or a late MM, but very interesting to see. Volvo 240 estate in the background, a Freight Rover it probably is behind that, or maybe an early Leyland DAF. But there you go. That's my first LockDown slideshow, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you in a future video.